Dave Nellis, who you saw at the end of that piece, joins us now from Coventry. Dave Nellis, why are you campaigning to leave?
Well, the European Union is set up and run essentially for big companies. It's Thatcherism on a continental scale. It promotes privatisation, and we've seen postal services, water, electricity, rail and other forms of transport go. And increasingly in its Court of Justice rulings, it undermines trade union collective bargaining and the right to strike. So I think all workers and socialists should vote no on the 23rd of June.
Right. I mean, Francis O'Grady, why are you supporting Thatcherism on a continental scale?
Well, we think a Brexit would be a big gamble with people's jobs, rights and livelihoods too.
Why? Why their jobs?
Well, look at some of our best organised manufacturing companies, automotive, chemicals, a whole range of companies who critically depend on investment because we are a member of the EU. If we come out, we know what will happen in respect of those investment decisions. That will impact on jobs. We'll see good jobs replaced by worse ones, assuming we hold on to them. But there's a very big issue about workers' rights. You know, we have to live in the here and now. And when your redundancy rights, your holiday pay, maternity, family-friendly, a whole range of rights are dependent on membership of the EU. What would happen if we came out, Dave? Do you trust this government that's been bashing unions to protect and keep those rights?
Right, Dave Nellis, can you answer that?
Well, the OECD, which is the richest 34 countries on the planet, have an employment protection index. The UK is 31st out of 34. And several of the rights which Francis mentioned, such as maternity leave, equal pay and so on, were won by working people well before they came into the EU.
You're wrong there. You're
equal
wrong.
pay, for example, is a result of the strike of the Dagenham sewing machinists in 1968, 5 years before Britain entered the EU. And I would say to Francis that there are 28 heads of government who make the real policy in the EU. Most of them Tories, all of them in favour of austerity. I think we need stronger unions to protect our rights, not put our faith in Tory governments in Europe.
Let's pick up the point, because you said that Dave Nellis was wrong, but it is true to say that much of our employment legislation has originated here. It's not all dependent on the EU.
Oh, most of the important ones are. You take equal pay, which Dave is quite right to say it was unions who won that, the Dagenham sewing machinists who won that new law. But we only got equal pay for doing the same work under that Act. Under Europe, we get equal pay for work of equal value. That has helped millions and millions of women get a better standard of living and a fair pay packet.
But Francis O'Grady, what about austerity? Dave Nellis, thoughts on austerity? Because actually, if you take the example of Greece, do you think they were treated fairly as a trade union leader?
Absolutely not. And believe you me, we don't think the EU is perfect.
Right.
But as a trade union movement, we've got a responsibility, because nobody else will do it, to figure out what's in the best interests of workers. And we have worked hard on this. We've looked at the evidence, and our guidance to workers is don't gamble with your jobs, don't gamble with your rights, vote to remain.
And Dave Nellis, you're in the minority here. I mean, even Yanis Varoufakis, the famous left-wing Greek politician, is backing the UK to stay in. Not that he's got a vote.
There's all sorts of people backing the UK to stay in, but they tend to be, in the main, ex-presidents, ex-prime ministers, heads of the IMF, the OECD, not really friends of working people. I just asked Francis to look at the direction that Europe is travelling, particularly on trade union legislation, the undermining of collective bargaining. Look at the dispute in Rotherham in recent weeks, where a Croatian company brought in construction workers on half the agreed trade union rate, and we're trying to force down the wages. That's the way in which the EU is going. The export of jobs, the bringing in of agency labour. We need strong unions to fight that. But giving a vote of confidence on the 23rd is not the way to start.
Where I hope we'd agree, Dave, is that workers have to combine together, not just in Britain, but across borders. That's the only way that we'll get a fairer deal.
We're going to finish it there. Dave Nellis, thank you very much.
Thank you.